Hey, everybody. I guess Bobby is here.
I'm here. Sorry, my eye is pretty swollen and messed up, so I'm
I'm aware.
taking the camera off here.
That's all right. I'm trying to gonna get to. I'm testing out, the YouTube stuff as well. It was funny. We weren't even uh, hold on, hold on. It wasn't even setting up. It wasn't even set up to maintain the chat. Uh, or to for replay chat and so I had to adjust some settings in both of our
Oh,
accounts.
I'm sorry about it. Yeah, I was going to go through it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I didn't. I'm glad you took care of it. I appreciate it. I was going to do that. I didn't realize that. Though. I had no idea about that.
Yeah, but okay. So now it's testing in here, and what I'd like to see again is if when we replay this, if this chat is also going to appear. I think it has it set up to do
but
that.
you know what? Chat has always been appearing because I've seen it a million times. I've gone to check it, and it's always been appearing.
No. I don't mean now. I mean when you replay it.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Because remember, the idea is that I want to do it live when we record, but if people miss the live, then they can access it as a regular video, and this way they can see what the chat was in there. So I think that I think I have it set up right now. So we'll just see what happens when. And then what you have to do, by the way, is when this stops recording. I mean, when we stop the stream, it'll show up within YouTube under YouTube Studio under live streaming, and then you could just save it from there to the playlist.
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't know where to save this particular one to. This one we don't really need to keep recorded, but when we do the slate breakdowns, we'll do that.
Sounds good.
So that's everybody. That's some behind the scenes stuff that everybody just had some access to there.
So this Sheets, I mean, we haven't changed much since earlier. Stuart's out like we thought maybe. What are you thinking about doing here? Because I'm finding this is to be a very annoying slate. One I don't love because I'm having trouble getting different. And I think that my favorite things are still pretty accurate to what I felt this morning, which I do like the Jimmy Butler play at low ownership. I think that's one littler thing you could do. I think Robert Williams at low ownership is interesting. And I think that, trying to fade at least one of Tatum or Embiid is a good idea. I would personally, it's tough. I guess I have Embiid a little bit ahead of Tatum, but I don't think it's by much. Maybe even that's wrong. I might need to reassess that one. But it's definitely a hard slate to try to get different on. What is there anything that you've come up with that maybe?
Yeah, what I've come up with is just being told by you just now that Isaiah Stewart is out. So I'm going back into the weeds and redoing this stuff, but I don't think it's going to change all that much, except to make these plays that we liked earlier I like even more, and yet even more popular somehow.
Right.
I mean, like I said, if you want to do like a direct pivot off of the bigs, I mean, you can go play. You could play Hernan Gomez, or you could play up for Valanciunas at center.
Yeah, I mean, I think Valanciunas will have even a little bit of ownership, but I don't think Hernan Gomez will get any because people are just going to need to try to find ways to spend money with playing. And I'm going to guess that most people are playing like four guys from Detroit. Don't you think that seems like it's going to be the build? If we ran a thing on SaberSim right now.
We're going to do it in a minute. Don't worry about it.
All right.
We're going to do that, but it's going to take me a minute because I have to update the
projections. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's going to get me 4. We'll get 4, maybe 5.
Yeah. I'm just going to send Evan a little note. For some reason, your projections still aren't coming up for me on TrueDFS again.
Well, let's see what happens after I update it. Maybe that'll help.
All right.
I mean, it won't help, but so it's showing up on the tables, but just not into SaberSim.
Yeah, it keeps happening. And Evan says there's something that you're tweaking or something on your thing that makes it happen. I can't remember what it is though.
Well, that can't be. We spent so long on it in the last meeting, so I don't want to hear it anymore. So, I mean, everything was working just fine. So anyway. But it can't be mine because if it's showing up at the tables, then it should be going to Sabersuit.
That's been the issue that we've had off and on for a little bit now. But well, I'll send Evan a note right now. That's fine.
As a matter of fact, I'll put up one set right now, just so we can see how it flows. But
yeah, it's not the most. This is not like a fun throw a bunch of like. It's kind of like it's like the worst NBA slate I remember in a while because we had a lot of like the last 2 weeks before the All-Star break. There was a lot of 6 and 7 game slates and a 4-gamer with one team with 9 players and against the worst defensive team in the NBA. Just I honestly don't know how to recommend not playing at least 3 of them. I do think that you can play 3 of them and get away with it if you get other things right elsewhere and go for a more middling build. But it's really, really hard when you're getting value that's this crazy to just avoid it. The other thing you could do is you could play the speculative RJ Hampton play or Corey Joseph instead of some of these guys. Those guys will be low owned. I think that's viable. I would side a little bit more with Hampton, I guess, but I don't think it's a big gap. And we've seen Joseph in these situations play again, but like at the thing that I want to see though for sure before I decide anything is the starting lineup because you've got Magruder who's projected to start who hasn't played in forever, and you've got Isaiah Livers who I think will start probably. But I just want to get a confirmed starting lineup from Detroit before we see everything. And my guess is that Bagley won't start and therefore will be slightly less owned. I think he's still going to be plenty owned, and I am going to play him in all my lineups.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Green Monster. What you're announcing right there is sort of like the chalk of chalky things, like playing just all of the Detroit and Charlotte together. And that's unfortunately I can't even advise against it because I don't have terrific other things. What I would say is that I mean I'm not finding anyone on Charlotte outside of Ball like not almost like must play, but like a incredible play. I do think Ball is a terrific play. I think Rozier is getting a little higher ownership than he should. I think Gordon Hayward's probably getting a little higher ownership than he should. And Mark Williams, I sort of feel somewhat like is fine, but like it's not like a guy I have any need to try to get tonight. But it does give you a little bit of a different build. He's got a ceiling. I think Mark Williams is totally fine.
I just updated the projections now. And here we go. So you want to run one? Let's run one. Everybody will have a little contest here.
Okay.
So I think here's a question. I'm going to build 150, and what percent? Well, first of all, who's going to be the highest owned? And then you give 100% of anybody. You think you'll have 100 of any, I think maybe have 100 of 2 of them. And then let me just see. Yeah, Wise. I bet you. Yeah, I just don't know which ones though. So Wiseman's, Burks, and Diallo are like all over 8x.
Yeah, I think Diallo. I don't know actually. It is interesting, and I like what Brendan's pointing out in the chat right now. Dwayne Casey said an hour ago with the guys out, he said it'll be a ton of opportunities for Livers, a ton for Magruder, and a ton for RJ Hampton, and will probably be smaller than normal, which sort of makes me think that maybe they won't play as much of Bagley and Wiseman together.
Okay, so here we go. So roughly 100% Wiseman, roughly 100% Burks, roughly 100% Diallo, and then 85% Hayes. And then the highest owned non-Piston would be LaMelo, then Tatum and Embiid. Randall, I would only be getting 18% of in this build, and as you suspected, I would get 2 lineups out of 150 with Butler in it.
Yeah, I'm into it, man. I'm willing to take a gamble today.
Yeah.
I think that's probably what I end up doing, but even that is just one piece. So if I play a 5-1 with Butler, Detroit, Charlotte with a Butler Embiid, is it different enough to give me a chance? I mean, I don't know. The Wiseman together kind of interesting now because they seem like they made perfect sense, but that quote does have me questioning if they're both going to play, if they'll just divide up the center minutes, and if they're not going to play both of them together.
So here's another thing that we kind of speculated on. So of the 150 lineups, you have 32 of them have 5 Pistons. And then you have, I'll put it another way. Only 2 lineups out of 150 have less than 4.
Woo! That's pretty crazy. I don't know. It's like I've ever seen that before. That's nuts.
Only 2 lineups out of 150 have less than 4.
That's pretty nuts. I mean, I guess like I do think that there is some merit to maybe just playing like a blowout team of Diallo, Hampton, and one of Wiseman or Bagley, I guess.
Well, I will also say that, I've got a tiny little bit of Hampton here.
So I think he's interesting because I think that if the coach says that, I do think they'll give him more minutes. And it seems like they don't need to win games, obviously. So Alec Burks minutes I don't feel like those are like locked in. Maybe playing Hampton instead of Burks or Joseph instead of Burks is a way to go. It is a really annoying slate. Like there's not a lot to just feel good about. I'm struggling with it myself. And maybe the idea, what I said earlier about the Embiid, and like I'm sort of struggling with that Embiid. Do I want to spend up on Embiid or do I want to spend up for what's his name? Tatum. Both in great spots. I'm struggling a little bit with that one. I thought it was Embiid clearly early on. Now I'm starting to second guess it a little bit.
Well, I have another idea. And this is, again, I've tried this a couple of times, and let's just say the sample size is not big enough for me to determine whether it's good or not. But in a situation like this, what about like playing like 5 Pistons and then just fading Charlotte?
I don't think that's going to be like anything especially unusual.
You don't think?
No.
Okay.
I mean, it's fine. Yeah, that's something. It's something you can do. I guess it will be. I guess it would be like maybe. Yeah, I guess that would. I mean, all those guys are obviously still going to be crazy owned for Charlotte. I'm sorry, for Detroit, but yeah, that is one thing. You don't need a run back, especially with Oubre back. I think there's some merit to it. DSJ still getting minutes.
The idea is that if these Pistons guys can get ceilings, while the Charlotte guys just get medians.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
And then the only thing I can think of again is what we've mentioned earlier. Maybe is that. Again, this is not particularly earth-shattering, but on a 4-game slate, whatever, maybe you play Harden instead of Embiid or something.
Yeah. I think Harden is going to probably be owned similarly, unfortunately, to Embiid.
How about this? How about a line? How about Mark Williams?
Yeah, like I said, I think that's okay. I do.
I still think the Randall. I think they actually Sabres and literally just built that lineup that I had in the screen earlier. Remember, I put all those Pistons that I played Randall and Tatum. It's so funny. Like Sabres didn't spit this exact lineup out, but it has just organized a little differently. With Hayes, Burks, Diallo, Wiseman, Bagley, LaMelo, Randall, Tatum.
Yeah,
literally the exact lineup.
I literally have that lineup built already by accident. Like I'm trying to get off of it, and I still can't get off of the chart.
And then what you could do, like I said, we went through this before. Like you could swap this exact thing for Embiid, Butler, and max out your salary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How about this one? How about the petty theft lineup? How about we go with the Embiid and Harden together?
Embiid and Harden together. I think that's totally viable tonight. I mean,
against Miami, no less. I mean, who's doing that?
It just feels like the wrong thing against Miami, but I mean, look, if we weren't looking at all these things, I would be playing some of this Philadelphia situation. I would speculate on D'Anthony Melton on a small slate, but there's just no reason for the value. Right. I would Tobias Harris's price, and Embiid is just smashing every game. It is a tough matchup, and we've seen it before. Miami does give you problems. Like, I mean, Bam is a tough matchup, at least if you want to try to find the Embiid fade. But I think people actually are aware of that, to where I'm looking at basically the same ownership for Embiid for Harden, and that seems like, I think I would rather just take Embiid in that situation. And I like the Butler run back, so I'm already getting a little bit different. You know what I mean? But usually you'd say, oh, Butler, you're playing at 4 or 5% ownership. That's awesome. You're different enough. Am I different enough? I think I guess I'm different enough if I get all the right parts of Detroit, but I need to get it right. I need the game to stay close, and I need LaMelo to also go off. So maybe I can find something a little better than what I've got currently. You guys can see my early build if you're a member of the site. I put it up there. So referring to what I'm talking to, not playing a ton of lineups today just because the slate sucks. Although I still maintain that on these slates, I think that if you are max, like, I would be more inclined to max enter a slate like this than I would. Well, yeah, I think I would. Because I think there's like plenty of things you could do if you're playing a ton of lineups. You know what I mean? Like, right. You could play 3 of those Detroit, like play Hampton and Corey Joseph, or Hampton and Magruder, right. Something like that. Although I have a feeling Magruder is going to end up with some ownership once they announce him starting. But I even that feels wrong. So does the Isaiah Livers thing, who just is where fantasy points go to die.
It really is, isn't it? Like,
yeah, and he plays minutes too. Like, but the usage guys are going to be Hayes, Burks, Wiseman, Bagley, Diallo, and then potentially to some extent Hampton. The other guys are just more on the court. Josh Richardson did not cross any of my lineups today. Sheets, do you have any Josh Richardson love? I don't see him.
I have a share.
Yeah, I'm not. It feels. I'm going to double check, but I'm going to guess that's going to feel a little bit game chasey. He is playing, good minutes out there. No, it's not even that chasey. It's just where do I need a 5,400 guy even to get me like 30? I do like this Robert Williams thing as a way to get a little, like, we know Robert Williams has a tremendous ceiling. I'm kind of interested in that one a little bit.
Well, I'll tell you this, of the Pistons, which is the one that like, okay, you only could lock one guy in. Who would it be? No, ownership doesn't matter.
I don't know if there is one. Well, without a starting lineup, I don't know if there's one. I think Diallo is probably my favorite, the one I feel the best about.
See, I would think Hayes.
I think Hayes he can be. I mean, he's much lower usage than Diallo is.
Oh, really?
He plays he just played 32 minutes and 31 minutes and put up 22 and 16 fantasy points. Diallo is a much more active player. Diallo's like this would be like playing LeVert. Like, if Diallo was 6K, I'd probably play him tonight. So I guess Diallo for me.
What about Burks?
That one is the other one that why do they need to play him?
Right.
But I'm still going to play him probably. But like that's there's at least a justification for why you wouldn't want to play him.
I mean, you can get under on him, maybe. I mean, you know what I mean? Like you said, I mean, he's
yeah. I think it's fine to be under on him. Looking real quickly at what I'm just going to double check Burks' projected ownership here.
It'll be 60 or whatever.
He'll be lower than the other guys, I think.
You think so?
I think he'll be lower than Diallo and Wiseman. Probably a little bit more than Hayes. And I'm a little concerned about this Bagley. I'm more concerned about because of that quote, the Bagley and Wiseman together, but I think it's honestly still fine. Like, they're just so cheap.
Right. I don't think I'm going to play. You know what I can do to get? I don't want to say get different, but maybe I don't need to play 5.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Get rid of the 5s. Don't play 100% of anybody. Get a bunch of Derek White, maybe.
Yeah.
Get over on Butler. You know, maybe pivot off a ball. Maybe you play Rozier instead or something.
Mm-hmm. But Rozier's popular too, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the problem is those are the obvious ones. I think the way to do it is, I think you find the guys who you know will be on the court in the competitive games, and you take the Jimmy Butlers. You take the who else is going to be lower on the lower own side? Take a shot maybe with Jalen Brunson or Bam, CJ McCollum. These are the guys I would be looking to get different with. I think I'm just going to eat the Detroit chalk for the most part, and probably play at least 4 of them.
Yeah, I mean, you have to eat it in some degree. I mean, like,
right. Tyler Hero's another one. But the Celtics guys make a ton of sense too. They're in, without Jaylen Brown, this is a good spot for White, Brogdon, Smart. I actually like Smart because I think he's going to be low owned. I think that's probably what I would do there. That's another thing. So you could build out some of that other 4 or 5 Detroit guys if you want to play Smart and Jimmy Butler in the lineup or something. Jimmy's asking about favorite Pelican on DraftKings. I think it's Ingram, but I think that there's nothing wrong with Joval or McCollum either. Sheets kind of likes the Hernan Gomez sneaky thing, and I don't mind that. Sheets like you could play Hernan Gomez instead of Wiseman. Get way off, get weird with it.
I kind of like the Mark Williams too.
Yeah, why not? He is going to be the lower owned of the bunch.
You know what you're not going to want? You're not going to want to be playing Marvin Bagley if he's going to be standing out there shooting threes.
Why is that?
Because you want the guy. If you want a center, I mean, you know what I mean. Like I just don't think you're going to be comfortable with him as chalk shooting threes.
I don't know. He'll get his on. I think he'll get there anyway. But I hear you. I mean, the real concern I think is the minutes. Is do they just split up Wiseman? But I think they're going to play them some together. They just don't have enough bodies.
Yeah.
They only have 9 guys.
They said Magruder's getting the hashtag the ton, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's a Magruder night. So
I don't have any of him, by the way.
Excuse me. Yeah, I haven't put him in yet, but I'm not opposed to it. Not in love with it either. Okay.
Oh, I gotta put my State Kings up. I didn't do that yet.
Oh, do it. I can get a little bit of it.
That's a stupid slate.
I know.
You know what? If they want it, they can have it.
It is a pretty silly slate.
What's the big one? The alley-oop, right?
Yeah.
What am I going to play in that? Is that 100 or it's 50 for first today, right?
Yeah.
Not that I care either way, but I have to put it in the thing.
Yeah. No, I know. Just not the guys. Pop in questions. I'm happy to answer anything. This is just like it's kind of like a yuck way to start the week with this slate.
Yeah. And then we'll do the box out. I think they're gonna be points tonight. But the thing is that maybe they're not that many points because remember you have all this value to catch these studs, but they're not that many of the studs. You know what I mean? Like there are only a couple of them.
Right. There's only really the LaMelo, Tatum, and Embiid, and even those guys like it's a good matchup for LaMelo and Tatum, but Embiid is not like a good matchup for him. It's just he's gonna get 50 plus fantasy points basically just while walking in the door anytime he plays.
Paying $20K for first in the box out tonight. That's good news.
I think Kevin Love's an interesting way to get different if that's what your question is. What does that mean? He's been smashing. He had one game. where he had 37 fantasy points in one game with 20. So he had one game against the worst defensive team in the NBA. I'm not going to read overly into it. He was dreadful his first game against Milwaukee, but he still put up 20. I think he's okay. 5,400 is like a reasonable price, but I'm not like trying to get to Kevin Love.
But he certainly has. I'm going to get to your hockey question in a minute, sir. I figure I'll wait till Bobby leaves for that.
No, I'll hang out. I mean, I'm hanging out anyway because I don't have a whole lot to edit. Like, there's not a whole lot of things to change until I see the current starting lineup. So, and even that, I don't really know how much difference it's going to make for me.
Do you play the splash?
Sometimes.
Yeah, I'm doing that. And then I play these qualifiers. I told you I want a seat to some not to the live one yet, but I want a $10,000 seat in this MMA thing. You still got to get through some more stuff to get to qualifier though. I mean to get to the live thing. All right, so I'm playing three fantasy, 3 live final things, I guess, in the 60. So we'll do that.
Cool.
We'll put those. Now let me ask you a question. When you do something like that, it's more of a roadie question. I guess you don't put these up. But when you do like a State Kings thing and it gets you a seat into like a 10K, or for example, do they like just roll that action over, or do you give them the opportunity to buy out or something, or what? How does that usually work?
No. Then they have a piece of your final whenever it goes.
Okay.
But I don't like doing it for that reason because I've heard some bad stories from the past for people on both sides.
What I was gonna, it's really funny. What I was going to do is I was going to go into the State Kings when I won the 10K thing. I'm like, listen, if anybody wants, I'll just pay them for it. You know what I mean? Like as if they won 10K. But then I went there and nobody bought it. Sorry.
See, I'm going to throw on some of Oren O2's action. I'm getting a little bit of his.
Am I up yet? Yeah. So I'm up in the splash and the box out and the alley oop and the fadeaway. They are pretty smart, man. They don't take that fadeaway so quick.
I know. It's a little more savvy.
It's tough, man. It's tough doing that thing.
It's really tough, and the structures are not nearly as good as some of the other ones.
So we got to do the hockey now. So I'll post the hockey and then I'll talk about the hockey. Let's see, hockey, kick save 20K and top shelf 20K.
I have no interest in Thor. Thank you for asking, Yannick.
Who?
JT Thor. He's been starting, but he and Livers are like the 2 lowest fantasy point per minute guys like in the world.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
Like on a different slate, I would still probably get a little bit of exposure to Thor. Like literally, if you want to just his game log makes it really hard to play him. But also, I don't even know how many minutes because you're going to get Oubre off the bench. They're still playing DSJ quite a bit. Nick Richards is getting minutes. I guess he's going to get some minutes, but I don't know. I don't think I can do it. I think Kai Jones off the bench is maybe a better play, but I don't think I would touch either of those guys in this slate.
Well, that's posted. Ugh. Okay, so to answer your question, Mr. Hockey Man, I'm going to talk about my big buy in a second, but let me just go over my exposures in the hockey because I did go back and forth a little bit. NHL most recent builds. I'm actually highest owned. Who's asking me? Hold on. MC. I'm actually highest owned on Edmonton now by a little bit. Edmonton over Dallas, and then Anaheim and Detroit next. So I didn't get to Boston, but I've really got this Edmonton at home business going on. But I think my big buy, and I'm still going with I think I'm still going with the Dallas. And that does, it's very common the way I play is that I'll have even though my biggest exposure will be in something else, in my big one, I will go with where I have less exposure. So I think that's what I'm going to end up doing. I do like, Dallas does look like the best play. And, even though the 333 people can play like multiple inch, I still kind of treat that as like a conservative, a conservative approach there. So that's why I don't mind eating some chalk there and playing a bunch of Dallas. Mm-hmm. I do like the Detroit, and I like the Detroit goalie. The Detroit goalie at 7K. It's going to be facing a lot of shots by Ottawa, so it's high variance, obviously, but you get lucky, you can get a pretty big score out of that. So that is what I am doing in the hockey. Yeah, for those of you who weren't here, I mean, I guess most of you were here for the Brandon Cruz was here for a while on talking about NASCAR, and he actually gave out Kyle Busch as the winner, which was very, very low owned. If you want to know the truth, I don't know how he ended up doing, but that was pretty freaking sharp to come up with that. And we were doing our hand built thing. I said that's probably where you should start. You're kind of low owned. Oh, look at this shit. The DK promo. I can't read all that. Yeah, Matt turned 21 today.
So, oh wow!
So he's like, better start selling short on DraftKings. I'm gonna take all their money. I'm like, oh great.
That's pretty funny.
But now he wants to know what to do with the promo for the best promos. So I got to have someone look into that. We'll look later. As if I can read that.
3 units. Do you have it? I took a quick look at early golf today because I don't have any,
you know what? Let's do that. Hold on. I'm going to pull up that. I want to pull up that. Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. Let's do that. Let's go into the golf, and we're not going to look at projections. We're just going to. I'm glad nobody got mad at me for that comment I made the other day.
Which one?
Where I said that these I want to see what these guys' projections would be if they did it before they knew the salaries.
Oh yeah. Now we have salary. We still don't even have projections, so I think we're okay.
Oh, we got a real tournament, huh? Oh, look at this.
Yeah, it's an elevated event. So,
well, it looks like
I'll tell you
it looks like the Cantlay, probably will be played, right?
Yep. I love Cam Young this week. I will go out on a limb and play a ton of Cam Young. That's one of my early look guys. I also think that it's always hilarious when you see the difference in pricing between the two things. Like it's just kind of weird to see Shane Lowry now 7,900 and Chris Kirk at 7,700. Just kind of stands out a little bit. Chris Kirk, separate from this, he's been playing great.
And he won, right?
Yeah, and he's got his last 4 events. He's got 2 thirds and a first.
Shane Lowry's at 7,900, and you know who else you have here? You get the aforementioned Aaron Wise is 7,200.
Yeah, Aaron Wise down in that area. Yeah, there's Seamus Power, another one I like in that area.
Aaron Wise is lower priced than Gary Woodland.
Minwoo Lee is a great price.
Oh, and there he is, right there.
And then of course Tommy Fleetwood will be in basically all of my lineups.
Every one of them.
As of right now, I am going to play a good amount of them, I think.
Oh my God! Look at the model darlings down here. Not forget Wise at 7,200, and you can get Henley at 7,100.
I know it's pretty wild, the pricing.
Who's all the way down here? Let's see. You had Benny Ann, who was like 100% owned last week at like 9K, and it's like 7,000. Let's see.
Yep.
Oh, Eric, no respect for Eric with a C. Cole down at 6,900. Oh, here's your man, the floppy hat guy, 6,800.
Joel Dahman, my favorite guy on the PGA Tour now after watching that special.
Oh my God! How about after missing the cut, you get 6,700 Cam Davis.
Boy, he's looked so bad.
Davis Riley 66, Emiliano Grillo 6,600. Will Gordon like 2 cents.
Yeah, 65 for Will Gordon. I mean, there's definitely some things you can do this week. Even Ryan Palmer at 6,400.
And in general at 6,300. Look at all these guys you can play.
Yeah. There's a lot of
we got Streelman at 61. We got Taryn at 61. We got the Cooties back for more punishment.
Oh, that was a brutal finish by him. I had the Cootie Duncan pairing all over the place, and Duncan was fucking great.
It did look bad, 66, 75, 71, 70, but it was worse than that.
It just didn't feel good. It started in the right direction and then just couldn't keep going.
Well, the reality is that Cantlay is going to be pretty chalky, I think,
yeah, but it's going to be interesting because there's a lot of good players like in very reasonable price. Like Cantlay will be chalky, but people are going to play Xander and Hovland as well, and Finau is going to rate really well for everybody. I think
what an awesome troll week would be if Sungjae Im won.
I think it's like a great play, by the way.
Right?
It's such a Sungjae thing to do. It is.
Sungjae Im was like 24 years old.
I think he's a little bit older, but he is young, right? Is he really that young?
I think he's 24.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
He looks like he's 50 for openers.
He does look old.
Gee. Sungjae Im is 24 years old, exactly.
That's crazy.
Well,
Tom Kim is 20.
Yep.
I mean, golf is going to get crazy younger and younger. You're going to see like an 18-year-old win the Masters sometime, I swear.
You know what's the name? Matt Kuchar is like only 44.
That's what's weird to golfers. Like, why when you're like 40? Why when you're 40 do you have to look like you're 65? What is the
rule? Because apparently when you're 24, you look like you're 40.
Yeah. All right. I don't have a whole lot more to add for this NBA. I'm trying to wait on the starting lineup just to see if there's anything that we can get, but I still don't have it right here. Oh, we just got it. It is as projected. The Hayes, Burks, Magruder, Livers, Wiseman.
Yeah.
Still think Diallo is the best play. Yeah, but I think that there's maybe more of a case not to play Wiseman and Bagley together than I originally. I just think this game is going to go a little bit smaller. Maybe that's how I do it. I get rid of Bagley as my fifth one. That might be the way to do it.
Yeah. For those of you that are interested in this, the MMA, salaries are out early, and it is a stacked card. A lot of really good fights for those of you who are actual fans. Let me just take a look at what else is going on. Golf, we said. NASCAR. I think others, they're going to post on Friday and Saturday, but it's not up there yet. People have asked. I have no idea about the XFL or USFL or any of that. I can't even play it in New York anyway, so I'm not going to be supporting that at all.
Yeah, I'm not on that one either. I just can't get into that.
Yeah. What is this thing? Soccer? This FA Cup? No, it's nothing for first. I'm not going to bother that one. LOL overnight. We have just a 2-game slate, so that's not really worth getting too into. Tennis, there'll probably be a big slate in the morning. We have tennis going right now. Not much to speak about. And I guess we're just kind of done. Oh, so we're going to we should put this up on the site, but I think we're going to make this Wednesday live sweat thing just like a thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like every Wednesday we're going to do it. And the reason why it works is because in addition to sweating, we could also like finalize like the golf lineups.
Yep, absolutely.
Talk about that and actually watch the build and stuff.
And we've talked about it. Anybody who's a member of the site, let me know. And if you want to do, we'll do like a little coaching session too separately.
Okay. Yeah.
But I would love to start setting that up. So make sure to hit me up in the general chat or in my DMs on Discord, and I'm happy to organize.
Well, I'll tell you who we should have first.
People we already did, like Adam Perry.
No, I think this would be good golf. Maybe we'd have Kenny on.
It's not a bad idea.
Yep.
It's a good idea, actually. So I think that maybe let's do that, Sheets. We'll start it off that way.
Yeah.
And then we'll but I do want to get Adam Perry and Oren on separately and talk a little bit. They've had some success lately. It's great to see.
And I promised the laddie too. You know, he wanted me to do something with him, and then I said, okay, how about this Tuesday or this Thursday? So the only 2 days I can't do it. I'm like, all right, I'll find something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But maybe we can get him in on it when he has some time one of these times. All right. So
all right, I'm gonna split.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do the same, but I'll be in Discord, guys. Let me know if you have any thoughts or questions. Good luck, Sheets. Good luck, everybody.